And we're live
All right.
with the DJ Kyle.
I don't see it on. I see it says starting soon still on mine on LinkedIn Live.
Refresh your screen. It says I'm streaming.
You see it on LinkedIn?
Restream says I'm streaming.
I don't see anybody in here either. Oh, there it is. All right, now I see it. Oh.
Technology.
Right.
All right, and then Mike, you see how the comments are the same?
Yeah. All right.
We got 6 people in now.
Woo! That's 6 people.
Thank you for coming. Who's in here? Who's in here? Let us know.
All
Lucas
right.
Davidson. Lucas, what's up, bro? We are streaming. Thank you for letting us know.
Perfect.
Lucas, you're going to like this a lot for your specific challenges we talked about the other day.
Lovely.
Can I get some feedback on the music? Because the music is AI music generated from the streaming platform called Restream. And I don't really think it's that good. But I also don't want to get sued for copyright infringement and use an artist's music.
Lucas loves it. Look at him.
All right. All right, we got 11 people in here now. It's going up. Jalen, thanks for joining. Awesome to see you.
Hey, Susan. Glad you made it. Brad.
What's up, Mad? Thank you.
All right. Well, at least we'll wait another minute and get going here.
We can partner with Zuno for the music. Yeah. I have like R&B options. I got a classical option, a love option. This seemed like it was the best one.
Amazing. All right, Kyle, what do you say? Should we get this going? You want to wait a couple more minutes?
Let's get it done. Let's get started.
Let's get started. Let's do it. Let's party, guys. All right. Hey, everybody out there. Thank you so much for attending. My name is Mike Bodkin. I am the founder of Talent Scout, and I've got Kyle Hunt with me, founder of Agency Operators Level Up. Kyle, say hello.
What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for joining. I deeply appreciate it.
For sure. Listen, you got 15 of you in there, 16 now. Who's excited? If you're excited, please let us know. Say, I'm excited in that chat. Let's hit us up. Who wants to learn how to save 70% on talent without losing quality? Who's excited out there?
I'm excited.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad you are, Kyle. Oh, there. Kyle's excited. Good. All right. You up?
There's a delay. There's a delay here. So like you might be waiting some time for people to comment and then. Next slide.
Can you see the slide that we're on? You're up.
Yeah. Oh, the next slide. Okay, that is my slide. All right. So Mike and I are going to be talking about, Mike's going to talk about recruiting and all recruiting LATAM, and I'm going to be talking about onboarding. So make sure you stay until the end. We have 2 agency recruiting and onboarding resources that we're giving away. This is only for live attendees. So if you're not here live, I'm sorry, should have made it. But you're going to get my pre-boarding rule scorecard. And this is responsible for hiring and keeping 100+ A players at my agencies. And then also my 30-day structured calendar training. I'm going to go deep into detail on each of these and the training. And then you're going to get the assets themselves. And the 30-day structured calendar training is going to help to cut your hiring time by half. And after we do this, after the end, when we give these away, Mike and I are going to make the most ridiculous offer you've ever seen, and it's only going to be available for attendees. So if you like the presentation, you like what you hear, and you want our help doing it all, wait until the end, and we're going to make you a ridiculous offer.
Amazing. All right. Listen, let's get going then. So I've been in the creative and marketing space since the late 90s. My career started actually in Hollywood in 2002, where I helped make over 30 blockbuster films like Matilda, first SpongeBob SquarePants movie, The Avengers, and I even got to travel around the country with the crew from Jackass shooting Jackass 3D. So I spent a lot of time there, but then I got that entrepreneurial bug where I can do it better on my own and by myself and better than everyone. So I started my entrepreneurial career by launching my digital agency, Giant Propeller, in 2015. Originally intended for that to be a creative agency, we were starting to make big content for brands like Timex, MeUndies, Orient Watch, and even the musician Lil Dicky. But the agency grew pretty rapidly into a full service digital marketing agency. We served mainly e-com brands like Gorn Brothers, Aerosols, Venus et Fleur, and countless others. Then in 2023, I had a wonderful milestone of exiting Giant Propeller in a sale to a group out of New York, which I then stayed on for 2 more years to transition things. All in all, a 10-year run leading the agency. I'm also a member of the Entrepreneurs Organization, which is about 20,000 people worldwide in a global private network. I founded and I advised and invested in a few other companies along my journey as well. And finally, I'm a big family man. I love spending time with my wife and my 2 beautiful children. All right, but I'm here to talk with you all about Talent Scout, a company I started in late 2024 at the end of my transition out of my marketing agency. In 2020, after moving from Los Angeles to Miami, I was introduced to the Latin American talent pool while still at the helm of Giant Propeller. But that introduction came with several roadblocks along the way. We started our exploration by using recruiting teams that understood and had presence in Latin America, like engineering and sales specialists. But with them, we spent a lot more time and energy explaining what makes a good paid media manager or how to properly look at a design portfolio. And that resulted in some poor candidates and a lot of lost time. Ultimately, the problem was simple. I could not find a recruiting team that truly understood who and what an agency needed with the deep knowledge and experience that I thought it required. So I saw this white space unfold right in front of me, and I decided to just do it myself. Now, Talent Scout exists to help agency owners save hundreds of thousands of dollars each year on their payroll and overhead costs. All right, so let's jump into things. To kick this all off, I wanted to play a quick game. I thought it'd be fun if I could show you guys 3 real portfolios of design work, all done by senior designers. All right, and the whole game is, can you guess which ones came from the US and which ones came from Latin America? Spoiler alert, they all came from Latin America. This is Luca from Colombia. He's the kind of designer who can shape a brand's look and feel. He works across branding, typography, and product visuals, and he brings campaigns to life with illustration and motion. This is Martina from Argentina. She's the kind of designer who pushes creative boundaries. She's got bold graphic design elements, visual communication, and experimental typography that makes her work stand out. And this is Audrey from Mexico. She's the kind of designer who knows how to make brands shine in the market through visual identity, packaging, and digital design that not only looks great, but helps drive sales. Now, I was gonna do this with campaign results from our paid media managers, email marketers, and other performance specialists, but I figured looking at Excel sheets and pie charts just didn't make the same impact. But our clients are seeing this amazing talent as well. We're wearing our agency owner hats to stand out at this very saturated recruiting party. And now we're partnering with other agencies to help them do exactly what I did after running my successful agency for a decade. Gone are the headaches and wasted energy of subpar recruiting. Now, this top talent is saving our clients lots of money on every single placement that we make for them. All right, so let's take it from the top. Recruiting is not rocket science. The challenge isn't complexity, it's the time and energy drain. The industry benchmark, roughly 100 hours spent over 45 days to place a new marketing hire if you have an internal recruiter. That's vetting endless CVs, coordinating calendars across teams, running interviews, follow-ups, and the list goes on. And that's exactly why recruiters exist. But here's the thing. Not all recruiters are created equal. The best ones share two key attributes. First, deep market knowledge. If you're hiring an executive, you want an executive recruiter. If you're building a sales team, you should go with a sales recruiter. And if you're an agency, you need a recruiter who truly understands marketing and how the agency operates. Number two, a relationship-first mentality. Great recruiters build long-term trust, not just with clients, but with their network of candidates. They've invested years nurturing genuine relationships and building their talent pools. That's why the best ones have placements that are much higher in quality and repeatable. Because when you have the right recruiter who already knows the right people, you will enable your team to grow effectively. So, how do we save 70% on talent and not lose any quality? That's a great question. But is that really a thing? It is. And it's the reason why we're all here today. Let's dive into savings. How about we look at the single biggest cost that every agency owner hates? Well, I guess I'll speak for myself. My biggest and most hated cost, payroll. Here's the reality. Payroll eats up about 55% of revenue in the average agency. Now, when you tack on the overhead, the benefits, the payroll taxes, insurance, that number jumps closer to 70 to 80% of revenue. Simple math, most agencies are working just to cover payroll. And remember, the national average for a mid-level marketing role in the US right now is about $80,000 a year. And that is your baseline. So let's zoom in. Say you hire someone at $80,000 a year. Add in all the other things. And that $80,000 is really costing you closer to $106,000 every year. And that's before you even know if they're the right fit. Now, let's scout that out. You're growing, you're feeling good, clients start coming in, everybody is crushing. Now, you have to build a 5-person small agency to keep pace with demand. Yay! $400K in salaries, $80K to be a good boss, right, and take care of them. Another $30K to the government just for existing as a business. Then tack on a final $20K to make sure everyone has what they need to be productive. That's $530,000 a year that you are paying for just 5 people. So my real question is, what if you could get 70% of that back? What would you do with an extra $370,000 a year? I said $370,000 a year, each year. What would you do? Would you invest in growth and keep scaling your business? What about improving employee retention, making sure that your team is the happiest team? Maybe you want to protect your margins and make sure there's no financial pitfalls along the way. Or would you put it in your pocket? Would you live that lavish lifestyle and buy all the things? It's up to you. I won't judge. I know what I did. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, well, that makes sense and I want it, but how do I do it, Mike? Outsourcing. Outsourcing is no secret, and it's one of the fastest ways to reduce payroll costs. And trust me, over 10 years of running my agency, I tried just about every option for this, and it's a great tool. But be careful. What I learned, different regions work for different needs, and all are not equal. Southeast Asia is one of the most common places agencies go. There's a huge pool of people that are ready to help. It's very cost effective and great if you're looking for task-based or volume-driven work. It's the classic outsourcing hub and where I started my outsourcing journey back in 2010. Eastern Europe is another favorite. I tested this region for several years around 2017. Recently, they're getting more into the marketing and creative space, but they're really popular with tech and development work. Time zones, though, can be a bit tricky, so be careful of that. I used some developers and graphic designers here and found a great girl that stuck with us for years. And then there's Latin America, the last stop on my journey, which I started in 2020. In this part of the world, we don't even call it outsourcing, we call it nearshoring, a fundamental difference from the others. These are our neighbors, and that brings its own set of unique benefits and its unique name. Latin America has extremely strong marketing, creative, and operational talent. In the right areas, a very high level of English proficiency, and they also share similar education and cultural alignment. And one huge differentiator that I originally didn't even give it much thought, they work in US time zones. This ultimately checked all my boxes and became a total game changer for my business. So here's how it shakes out for savings in the outsourced marketing roles. Right? We got our baseline at $80K for the US, Southeast Asia, super affordable, $30K. Then the Eastern Europe, Latin American markets in that $50K range. So good news is lots of ways to save money in all of these regions. All right, so we've covered the savings part. Outsourcing, great way to save money. But now let's unpack quality, which in my mind is much, much more important than savings. And let me be clear. All of these regions have their upsides and tons of agencies use them successfully today. As I mentioned over the years, I tried them all. Each worked for me, but I always found myself moving on because something just wasn't right. Then in 2020, when I finally leaned into Latin America, when I finally took the time, stayed the course, and learned about this region, it wasn't just a little better than the others. It was a completely different league. So before we move on, please heed my warning. Savings should never take priority over the risk of poor deliverables and losing a client. That's not in the playbook, nor should it ever be an option as an agency owner. I like my money, but quality has to come first. And if outsourcing ever compromises that, the cost savings just aren't worth it for you. Client retention must be your driving force. All right, when we talk about quality, this is what all business owners should truly value in their people. Competence, right? The hard skills to deliver great work. Collaboration, the ability to work seamlessly with a team. Consistency, hires who stick and do not churn. Attitude, teammates that love what they do and are passionate about making an impact. And finally, presence, being able to communicate clearly and ideally show up in front of clients in a meaningful way. Client presence is really what I would say is a bonus because clearly, right, there's plenty of amazing people out there that are just not cut out for that type of spotlight, but great to have. And all 5 of these values are what drive real quality. Not just output, but how well someone fully integrates into your agency and supports its growth. And I was able to find all of this within the Latin American talent pool. All right. Now, I know it's annoying to bring up COVID, so apologies for that, but it's important because I have always asked myself, why didn't I know about Latin America until 5 years ago? And the truth is, the talent in Latin America has always been strong. What changed was the world and how the US responded during that pandemic. The remote work shift, right, during COVID made time zones matter more than ever. And suddenly, a whole region sitting in US hours became visible. At the same time, the creative and marketing talent coming out of Latin American universities started showing up globally, battle-tested through their own local campaign work. And while savings still matter, the US companies started putting greater weight on the quality of their work. And that's when Latin America really emerged as the best of both worlds. Remote professionals in Latin America working for US companies have grown nearly 70% in just the past few years. Within that, marketing and creative roles have surged from low single digits to about 15% of all those hires, and it's still growing. And here's the kicker. More than 80% of Latin American marketers are already using advanced AI tools to enhance campaign work, which is actually ahead of the world's curve. Unlike other parts of the world, in Latin America, you're not getting generalists, you're getting specialists. Quality agencies should no longer have catch-all roles. We have evolved. You need experts in paid media, social media, lifecycle automation. In Latin America, the markets have developed this way, so you can even start to see some specializations by country. For example, Colombia and Argentina, powerhouses for creative work. Brazil and Mexico, super strong in paid media. Latin America has a long history of strong universities turning out marketing, design, and business graduates. That means you're not just hiring talent who can get the work done, you're hiring people who understand culture, present thoughtful and impactful ideas, who can sit in client meetings and actually feel like part of your team. This alignment erases one of the biggest pain points of offshore hiring, the cultural and communication gap. We've seen hires who check all the technical boxes but don't integrate well into a team. In Latin America, you can find the A players to execute workmanship at the highest levels. And there are also an abundance of highly proficient English speakers who all carry a teamsmanship attitude because they have done it with that work in their own countries and understand the US. That's even why client-facing roles like account managers can thrive in this region. At the end of my run at Giant Propeller, I had 2 of my own account managers, both running my books of business directly from Latin America. And this was the breakthrough. The difference between outsourcing and building a truly integrated team. Unlike Asia or Eastern Europe, Latin America can run in US time zones. That means full days of real-time collaboration, no waiting overnight for responses, and the ability to show up live for your team. It turns outsourced workers into embedded teammates. These are the quality points that I needed at my agency and drove me to double down on Latin America. All right. I started this presentation by showing you guys some of the amazing design portfolios from Latin America. Now, I just want to introduce a few of them so that they can say hello.
Hi, my name is Maria Villamil. I am from Cali, Colombia. I am an account manager and I've been working with Talent Scout for over 2 years. Excited to meet you all.
Hey there, my name is Ricardo Segovia. I'm from Mexico City, Mexico. I work as a paid media strategist and I've been working with Talent Scout for over 2 years. Excited to meet you. Good day.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to meet you all. My name is Eli Bomba, and I'm from a city called Curitiba in the south of Brazil. And I'm an account manager with Talent Scout. Speak soon. Take care.
All right. So I've lived this model for years, and it completely changed how I ran my agency. But you don't have to take my word for it. There's a bigger movement happening here, and it's being validated by the powerhouses. From holding companies like Publicis to Stagwell, both CEOs have commented on the capabilities and growth potential of the region's talent market. Even trend pieces in Adweek and the World Economic Forum spell it out clearly too. Everyone is seeing the same thing. The global creative and marketing economy is waking up in Latin America. I'm based in Miami, and right here in my backyard is one of the best agency examples of how powerful Latin America and their talent can be on a global scale. Meet the Community, or La Comunidad. One of the founders, Jose Mola, who I know, was born in Argentina and spent years as a creative director at Wieden+Kennedy. In 2001, he and his brother went out on their own and they built The Community, an agency that made a deliberate choice to anchor their team with talent from Latin America. And what happened next is proof of the abundance of quality, if you know where to find it. Over the years, The Community grew into a global powerhouse. They got clients like Verizon, Netflix, GM. They've won some of the industry's top honors: Adweek's Multicultural Agency of the Year, Ad Age's A-List, and multiple Cannes Lion and Clio awards. All of that success was built with the amazing talent they nurtured in Latin America. Then, in 2014, Boston agency Sapient Nitro acquired La Comunidad specifically to bolster their creative and marketing services. That deal helped Sapient position itself as a stronger marketing services group rather than just a technology company. Then, just 1 year later, the Publicis Group acquired Sapient into its larger global network. This is not cheap outsourcing. This is world-class marketing and creative recognized at the highest levels. So what does this mean for agency owners? Can you really save 70% and not lose quality? Yes, you can. And I've shown you the path, but execution can be very challenging. The reality is Latin America is full of talent, but it's not plug and play. Hiring from the region takes time, systems, infrastructure, and local know-how. Things like compliance, taxes, and country regulations are extremely important. Like I said, recruiting is not rocket science. It's all about knowing the right people. It's the deep experience and ability to build the right network. And that's what we've been doing for the past 5 years at Giant Propeller and now Talent Scout, building a proprietary relationship-driven network of top Latin American specialists across marketing, creative, and operational roles. Not generalists, not freelancers, specialists who save you up to 70% on payroll without sacrificing quality. We've come from the agency trenches. We carried payroll, fought margin compression, lost on expensive bad hires. Then we figured this out and built a model that just works better, allowing us to scale Giant Propeller and even exit. We do not come from recruiting, but we have been in marketing and creative services for decades. We lived a problem, solved it, and now we're helping other agencies do the exact same. Because the real differentiator isn't just cost savings, it's the ability to recruit the right people who integrate seamlessly into your business. So next time you're looking to hire at your agency, or even if you're just trying to create some cost savings right now, I want you to think hard about your goals. If you could save up to 70% by working with a recruiter who specializes in marketing and creative roles, who actually knows your business inside and out, would it make sense to give that a try? Talent Scout helps agencies like yours find top, best-in-class people to grow your team. Kyle, over to you.
Thanks, Mike. That was awesome, man.
Thank you.
Let me give you a pat on the back. Pat on the back. Great. All right. And then I'm going to move your screen away, and then you can see my screen now. Am I correct?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Cool. So thanks, everyone, for joining. So Mike just did an amazing job talking about recruiting and how Latin America is one of the best places to do that. And what I'm going to talk about now is onboarding, because you can hire Mike to hire the best people in the world, but if you have a poor onboarding funnel for your talents, then it still might not work out. And a little bit about me is that I've been in the agency space for about a decade. I had a 7-figure agency exit in 2016, which was a B2B lead gen agency. I scaled my own e-commerce brand to multiple 8 figures during COVID. I had a minority acquisition of Weekend Digital, which is an 8-figure e-commerce agency. I became COO of that agency. Now I'm an advisor for it. We invested in, I think it's actually 12 brands now through Weekend Investments. And then to date, I've helped 46 agencies fix their operations. And that includes their recruiting and onboarding funnel. And the one that I'm actually the most proud of is that my wife and my 2-month-old say that I'm the best. And here's some of the brands we've invested in. There's a handful of them. They're awesome. You can go check them out. And I've got some testimonials here, like Bogdan, who owned a UGC agency, and I helped him go from 40K a month to 130K a month in 3 or 4 months. And Alicia, who I helped double her B2B lead gen agency from 7 figures to multiple 7 figures. And also Andy, who I helped grow 50%, and I got him out of firefighting mode. So all that is what I help with from an operational perspective. But today I'm here to talk about onboarding. And before I ask you the question that's on the screen, I'm about to show you something that I swore that I wouldn't share publicly, because this is the same team member onboarding system that people pay me thousands of dollars to access in my agency mastermind, and they pay me tens of thousands of dollars to actually implement in their agencies. So I feel like I'm I feel like I'm insane for giving away as much as I am, but I realize that keeping this gated info is only going to help a few people, and I really want to be able to help everybody who's on this call. So I have 2 quick questions before we dive in, and drop your answer in the comment. So number 1, how many days do you think that it takes your new hires to produce client-ready work? How many days do you think that it takes your hires to produce client-ready work? And then I've been informed there's a 30-second delay in LinkedIn, so I'm not going to wait for an answer, but I'll read it when I see it. And then the second question is, what is the real cost of bad onboarding? What do you think? Write it in the comments. And is it enough to lay on like a giant pile of money? Is it that much? Or is it a little bit amount? Is it a Ferrari? What do you think? Put in the comments and we'll talk about that. And the real answer is probably way more than you think. And if you research this question on Google, or if you plug it into ChatGPT, you'll hear the answer is somewhere between 50 to 200% of people's salary. So this is what it actually cost me to hire another A player after I lost a bad one to onboarding. And the recruiter restart was $5,000. The training time wasted was $10,000, and we actually lost a client for this, and that was $96,000 because they had a 12-month LTV. So Lucas says about 60 to 90 days to get ready. Mike has the Roll Scorecard link in there. He's got it. Oh, Mike, you just put in the Roll Scorecard link. We got to wait on that. Brad says 30 days, 60, 90. Okay, good. I'll tell you what it should be. And the total damage to this was actually, for me, for my agency, over $100,000, $111,000. And this is actual footage of me crying when I lost it. Very, very sad. Kaylin says 15 to 30 days it should take to onboard someone. Oh, that's pretty fast, Kaylin. You must have a good mentor. All right. And the most frustrating part of this whole thing is that a bad talent onboarding process can make an A player quit. So you can recruit the best talent in the world for Mike, and they're the best A player, but if you don't onboard them right, you can still lose them, and you can lose a lot of money like me. So don't be like me in that scenario. But when I talk to agency owners about team member onboarding, I hear things like, good people don't need much training. So if I hire experienced people, they'll figure it out. They've done this before. And well, like your senior hire might be brilliant, but they don't actually know your clients. They don't know your standards. They don't know your systems. And without proper onboarding, you're going to get 60% of their potential for the first 3 months. So even experts who you can pay $100,000+ a year need systematic onboarding to perform at excellence in your agency fast, regardless of how good they are. And the second thing I hear is, this sounds expensive. We can't afford proper onboarding. We're not profitable enough to spend this much time on training. We're too busy on other things in the business. And the thing is, you can't afford not to, because bad onboarding is going to cost you in client churn. It's going to cost you in team turnover. If you're a creative or email type agency that has clients approve things, it's going to cost you in revisions and rework. And then ultimately, it's going to cost you in a bad reputation. So one badly trained employee can lose you multiple clients. So this isn't a cost. This is a return on investment by fixing this in advance. Because bad onboarding is the expensive option, and good onboarding is the investment that's going to pay for itself very, very quickly. Because again, if you lose 1, 2, or 3 clients, imagine how much that is. That's a huge amount of money for most agencies. So this is something we want to be preemptive to fix. So today, I'm going to share 3 of the 6 Talent OS frameworks that we installed in my 8-figure agency, and also that I recommend for all the agencies that I work with. And we use these systems to cut our onboarding time in half, while actually doubling the quality of our work for our new team members as well. So this one is battle tested with hundreds of hires, and I'm giving it to you all. I'm actually going to like give you the training, and then we're going to give you the templates at the end, which is crazy. All right, so there's 3 things that we're going to be covering. The first is a role scorecard. The second is called a structured calendar training. And then the third is called job instruction training. And I'm going to go through each one in detail. But first, let me tell you about the 4 failed talent onboarding methods that I see in the agencies that I work with. And like, I've also been guilty of these as well. So first, it's called the sink or swim method. And you know this one, it's like you hire somebody, you throw them into client work on day 3, and you're basically like, good luck. And if they survive, then that's great. And if they don't, then you're going to hire somebody else to replace them really quick. Right? Wrong. And then I really hope this shark could swim. Like, you're not a good shark if you can't swim. All right. And then number 2, there's what I call a time will tell. And this is where you're going to assume that with enough time, people are magically going to get better. And spoiler alert, without having a structured training, they're not going to get better. They're just not. They'll just get better doing the wrong things, which is going to cost you more clients and more money. The third method, the microwave method, 30 seconds and done. And this sounds like, okay, first you log in here, and then you do this thing, and then you do this thing, and then that. Any questions? And they don't even know what you just said because you just threw the whole book at them, and they're like, no. And you're like, cool, here's your first client, good luck. And this is like SpongeBob puts his food in the microwave, and then magically it becomes like this food castle. Like we expect it to just happen, which it doesn't ever. And then the fourth way is the shadow the star approach. So you find your best performer and you tell the new hire, just copy exactly what they do. Like, here's Jenny. Jenny's the best. Just do what she does. And the problem with that is that your star performer probably can't actually articulate why she is so good at what he or she is so good at what they do. They just do it. So they're not going to be good to train your team, even though they're excellent at doing the thing. So if you're using any of these methods, you are not alone, but you're also leaving massive, massive, massive amounts of cash on the table and also potential on the table in setting up both your new hires and your clients for failure. So let's fix this today. Framework number 1 that I'm going to teach you is called the pre-boarding role scorecard. And this is not just a job description, and it's going to go much deeper than that. And this becomes an alignment tool at different levels of the agency. And before we even post a job, or before we even tell Mike, hey, I want to hire this person, we want to create this document. And even, especially if you're using a recruiter, this will give the recruiter so much clarity on exactly what they need to hire for, just outside of the skill set. Because the skill set is one of many things that we have to look for, right? And this document is going to answer 6 critical questions. Number 1, what's the mission of this role in your agency? Number 2, what are the measurable targets that this person needs to hit, and can they hit it? Number 3, are there any key initiatives that are outside of their normal work that they're going to own and they're going to have to do? Number 4, what skills and competencies are not negotiable for this position? Number 5, what are their key responsibilities? And then number 6 is, how do they embody your core values? So every interviewer, if you have multiple people interviewing, gets this scorecard. So there's no more hiring based on gut feel. You're hiring based on the same grading rubric for every person. And let me give you a real example. So when we hired a paid social manager, basically like a paid ads manager, their scorecard included targets for a client revenue being within 10% of our projections. We built out client projections for every single client on a monthly basis, and we wanted them to be accurate. So they had to build those out and be within 10%. I wanted our on-time delivery rate to be 95% or higher, meaning all of our paid media tasks should be done 95% of the time delivered. Only 5% of the time should we have issues that we couldn't fix. And then I want our error rate to be below 0.5%. So we don't make dumb mistakes on ads, meaning like don't put the wrong link in the wrong ad, don't create the wrong campaign in the wrong person's ad manager, things of that things like that. So now I have specific things that I can grade people on and specific questions that I can also ask in the interview process since I know what I care about. An initiative is build the V1.0 of paid social playbooks. So build processes. That's a little bit out of people's normal workflow usually, but prior to onboarding, I'm going to let them know you're going to be building out some processes for us as part of this job. Then we list the skills, traits, and competencies that are specific, like being able to train and develop and coach our team, as well as being somebody who's a top 5% paid media buyer. And then every single person who interviewed this candidate got this scorecard. So there's no more hiring based on like vibes or I like this person. There's no more gut feel. It is scientific, which is the best way for to make fewer bad decisions and more good decisions. And here's the kicker: is that once we hire someone, we review the scorecard with them on day one, and then they sign off on it. So you have complete alignment based off this scorecard from a recruiting perspective, from a hiring perspective, and the questions that we ask, and then from day one to make sure the person is aligned with why they were hired and what they're expected to do. So this one document has so many issues, fixes so many issues. All right, that's one thing, and you're going to get a copy of that document with 3 positions already filled out. Number 2 is the structured calendar training, and this is where most agencies really drop the ball. Even if they have like good recruiting and a hiring process, their onboarding is usually not that great. So let's talk about the old way of onboarding people. Number 1, no real onboarding. So like you hire somebody and you wing it, and maybe there's a Google Doc and it has like helpful links in it. Maybe if you're lucky. Number 2, we barely meet with our manager. So the hiring manager is always like too busy for daily check-ins. So maybe the new hire gets 30 minutes on a Friday if they're lucky. This is the old way. All clients on week 2, meaning like on week 2, you get 100% of your clients and good luck. Because we need them to be productive ASAP, right? Like that's our thought. Our rationale is like they must take on all the clients now. So here's your 8 clients, Sarah. Good luck, don't mess up. And then training is just shadowing. So like you sit next to Sarah for a few days, you're going to watch what she does, and then hopefully you're going to figure it out, which you're probably not because we don't learn that way as humans. And this approach is why most new hires fail. And even if they're A players, they can still fail because you have a very poor onboarding system that's broken. So who's done any of these things before in the old way? Write me in the chat. I'm gonna write me because I've definitely done this myself. There, I'll self-identify as someone who did the things the old way. All right. Now that's the left side, the old way. Now we're going to look at the right side, which is the new way. And this is what actually works. Is number 1, a structured calendar. So before your hire even starts, the first 14 to 30 days are completely mapped out for them. And I mean like hour by hour for the first 14 to 30 days. So they log in Monday at 9 a.m., they know exactly where to be, what they're learning, who they should be meeting with. There's no guessing. There's no wandering around in Slack. Like, what should I do now? No, everything is given to them in advance. So this is what this might look like. Is Monday, day 1, 9 a.m. They join the team huddle the first thing. 10 a.m., a 2-hour vision session with leadership. And this is what I actually did at weekend as the COO, is I met with every new hire for 2 hours. And people are like, that sounds like a lot of time for a COO to be meeting with a new hire. I'm like, well, this is actually a sales presentation of why we're so awesome and why you should stay with us and not leave us ever. So this is a retention tool. well worth the return on investment of my time. And after that, we did lunch, we did a ClickUp training, we reviewed their job scorecard with their manager, and then at the end of the day, we had any final questions for H&R. But the first 30 days should all be built out like this. So there's no question in their mind. And the more structured you can make this, the better their outcome is going to be, the better their output will be, and the better hire they're going to be for you. So every single hour planned, and I know what you're thinking. I know it. I'm psychic. Isn't this micromanaging? That's the question I get. Like, really? Every hour? Is it? And no, this is not micromanaging. This is actually the exact opposite of micromanaging. You're giving them structure to become independent faster. So without this structure, they're dependent on you for months, and they're constantly asking questions, and they're constantly unsure. And actually, I really like this quote from Brian Chesky. He's the founder of Airbnb, where he says that leadership is presence, not absence. So like, you want people to understand what they're doing, and you want to be there to help them. That's what actual leadership looks like, not micromanagement. So agencies that use structured onboarding see 50% faster time to productivity, meaning they take on clients faster, much faster with the same quality, 70% fewer mistakes in the first 90 days, a 92% retention rate at 6 months, excuse me, 12 months versus the industry average of 70%. So like, your competitors are turning 30% of their talent, which means every 3 years, they have an entire new agency. And all the skills and all the knowledge that those people have is gone. They're a new agency every 3 years. That's not how you build a long-term successful agency, especially one that is based on skills and knowledge and creativity. All right, so that was the structured calendar. And by the way, you're going to get a copy of a structured calendar for 3 different positions for the first 30 days if you wait until the end, and Mike's going to post them in here as well. So I'm going to give that to you as well. All right, Kaylin asked, not sure if there's going to be a Q&A, but curious about pacing hiring. There will be a Q&A at the end, and I will remind me and I'll answer that question. All right, second is the 5-3-1 meeting cadence. And this one is non-negotiable. Weeks 1 and weeks 2, a manager must meet with their hire every single day. Every single day. Why? Because that person, even if they're an expert at what you do, you hire a paid media strategist, they're an expert in paid media strategy, not your company. And if you're not there to answer the questions they have, they're either going to be stuck or they're going to guess wrong. So week 1, every single day. Week number 3, we can finally drop that down to 3 times per week. You can scale back to 3 meetings. And then week 4 and beyond, you can do a weekly one-on-one, and then you can move to a bi-weekly one-on-one if you want, and eventually a monthly one-on-one if that's your meeting cadence with the team. But this gradual reduction maintains support while also builds independence. And this is the main reason why this matters, because those first 2 weeks are when your habits form. So if they learn something wrong because you weren't available, you're going to spend months trying to fix it. Or worse, you're not going to fix it, and then your clients are going to leave. So your choice. All right, number 3, I call this progressive account loading. And by the way, I've never heard of any of these things here from any other person that does like recruiting or onboarding. The only way I figured this stuff out was by messing up a lot. So this is all learned through experience, right? So this is progressive account loading. And this one is huge. So like week 1, I don't want somebody to have any clients. I want 0 clients. And I know that sounds crazy, but they're learning your systems, they're learning your standards, they're learning your culture, they're learning where in ClickUp everything is, or Notion or Asana, or whatever project management tool you use, Google Sheets. They're learning all those things. So week 1, no clients. Second week, end of the week, give them 1 client. This is when most agencies give people their full book of business. Don't do it. Resist temptation. I want 1 client, and I want to see them nail it for that client. Like, they should blow it out of the park for that client. Because if they don't, and they only have 1 client, what's going to happen when I give them their full book of business? It's going to be way worse than that. So second week, 1 client, just 1, and let them nail it. Week 3, now you can give them 50% of their client load. So if they have 10 clients, now you can give them 4 more, so they have 5 total. And then in week 4, we finally give them the full client load. So by gradually increasing client load, you're going to prevent the deer in headlights things that happens when people get overwhelmed and those ultimately cause costly mistakes. So they're going to build confidence with each week instead of drowning from day one. Now, this is just a framework. So you might be like, okay, maybe this is a 6-week thing and it's like 33%, 50%, 67%, 100%. You can bill us out in different ways. This is just the way I would recommend to do it, or at least start off doing. All right, and then the fourth part of this is called detailed playbook integration. So every process that somebody needs to learn should be documented visually with screenshots, with time estimates, with the why behind why we're doing each step. And this is very different from traditional SOPs, which are usually just text documents that like make your head hurt when you try to read them because it's just text and it's very difficult to understand. But these are actual playbooks that people should be able to follow easily and not have an aneurysm because it's so boring. So during their structured calendar time, they're going to be working through these playbooks with their manager using what I call job instruction training that we're going to be covering next. But this is all framework 2 is the structured calendar training. All right. And if you have questions, again, there will be a Q&A at the end and you can fire away. Framework number 3, and this is where everything changes. It's called job instruction training, or JIT. And this single framework can take your training success rate from 60% to 95%. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how we do this with a real example and where I got this from. So I'm not this smart. I did not come up with this, but Toyota did. And Toyota's a car company. And people are like, well, we're not building cars, Kyle. We're an agency. We're creative. We're different. And let me stop you. So like building a car requires thousands of precise steps, 30,000 precise steps every single time. And people have to be comfortable enough putting their kids in the thing. So if Toyota can train someone to install a brake system that doesn't fail, where there's lives at stakes, we can train someone how to write email copy. We can make a process for it, I promise you. And the framework is very simple. I do, we do, you do. That's it. I do, we do, you do. So I do, step 1. And here's what most agencies do wrong, is they're like, watch me, and then they blast through the process at normal speed. And that's not training, that's just doing. So you want to demonstrate the exact process while you're explaining every step to somebody. Not just what to do, but why you're doing it, what makes the step so important, how does it affect the next process, what happens if we skip this thing. Like people should understand why you're doing the things that you do. And you should be able to rationalize why you do the things you do. So here's what this might look like. So like you pull up a client brief and you say, first, I'm going to open the client brief in ClickUp. And I always check 3 things first. I check the campaign goal, I check the audience segment, and I check any previous campaign data. Why do I do this? Because if I want to write great copy for the wrong audience, it's worthless. So every part of training includes insights like this, where you're walking people through the steps, and more importantly, the reason why you do those things. Step number 2 is we do. Now they're going to do it with you. So you're watching, you're connecting in real time, there's no delayed feedback, and if they miss something, you can catch it immediately. And this is where the magic happens, because there's immediate correction that prevents bad habits from forming. And the faster we can give feedback loops, the faster the people are going to learn. So this would look like this, where the new hire starts, and you're like, okay, first I'll open the template, and you're like, all right, well, what should you check first? I'm like, okay, the brief. And you're like, all right, what are the 3 things that I talked about that are important for you? Campaign goal, audience, and so then they're learning on the job. Like that's how humans learn. It's like watching and then doing with fast feedback. If you're not doing that, you have an unoptimized learning process. And this is not micromanaging. This is preventing bad habits from forming. And every wrong pattern that they're going to practice makes the right pattern harder to learn. Number 3, you do. They work independently, but you QA all their stuff. So this might look like in week 2, you QA 100% of their things. They're going to write copy for one client. You're going to review everything. You're going to review the subject line, the CTA, every design brief note, their ClickUp task comments. You review everything in that first week. And then maybe that second week, and then maybe week 3, we can drop down to 50% QA. And then maybe week 4, we can drop down to 25% QA and so forth. So we just covered the 3 frameworks: job instruction training, structured calendar training, and role scorecard training. Now, thank you everybody for being patient. We're almost at the end. So we have 2 agency recruiting and onboarding resources that Mike is going to go copy and paste into the comment section. Again, there's like a 30-second delay, so he's pasting it right now, but give it some time. But in this, you're going to get my pre-boarding role scorecard that has 3 examples for 3 positions. And you're also going to get a 30-day structure calendar training with 3 examples for 3 different positions. So like I charge a lot of money for these things and you're getting it all for free for attending. So thank you for attending. Mike and I greatly appreciate it, especially to the end because it's an hour of your life. But one more thing. So if you want to have Mike hire your next day player, and if you want to have me personally build out your 3 training frameworks, the pre-boarding role scorecard, the 30-day structure calendar, the just-in-time training playbook, job instruction training playbook, then put I want in the chat if you want it. But I want it. If you want it, I want it. Would you also like a Talent Scout discount, which is a $500 discount on 1 month of Talent Scout? Would you like the 3 training frameworks installed, where I will personally build out your rule scorecard, a structure calendar, and your JIT training? I'm giving you templates now, but I will literally build them out for one position in your agency. Do you want a one-to-one strategy call with me, or I'm going to help you optimize your talent? You want 1 month of my operations mastermind valued at $2,500? I can answer all your questions on recruiting or onboarding or operations or whatever. You want all that? That's $9,250 in value, almost $10,000 in value. If you want to put yes in the comments, and I'll show you how. Now is your chance. When you sign up for any plan with Talent Scout, you get all the bonuses that I just talked about for free. $10,000 worth of stuff, the discount, my install with me one-on-one, my one-on-one strategy call for optimizing your talent, my operations community, all that just replacing your first role with Mike and Mike's team. So we're only going to do this ridiculous offer for 10 agencies total. So book a call with Mike now, get your spot before the last spots are taken. And there's a URL here that Mike's going to copy and paste into the comments as well. And then additionally, you can use your phone and open this as a QR code, and it'll take you to Mike's calendar to schedule a call. So schedule the call with Mike, use this link or scan it. And then when you place your first role, you're going to get all of this included for free, which is insane. Like, this is crazy value.
Kyle, you're insane. You're insane, bud.
I'm insane.
You're insane. But yeah, we love Kyle. That was super informative. Thank you for that part. Like really good and really, really important information. And yeah, would love to help you guys out, help you find this amazing talent and make sure they stick and kind of come in the right way as Kyle laid out. Super informative.
All right. So we have some questions. So we had one from Kaylin. And fun fact, Kaylin is actually in agency operators already. She's an incredible operator. So she said, not sure if there will be Q&A, but curious about pacing hiring. Someone leaves, something changes, and the hiring onboarding feels a bit rushed. But you also don't want to hire people and get in the fold without the work available for them. So how would you balance this? So that's a really good question. And when you have a structured calendar training where you're including progressive account loading and you're including the 5-through-1 meeting cadence, it will often fix challenges like that. Because we don't want to give everybody the work all at once. The current team is going to have to do a little bit more work. But the worst thing that can happen is we onboard somebody too fast and they learn bad habits, and then you're never going to fix them.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be that balance, but I would rather have the current team work just a little bit harder on those accounts while we lose somebody to make sure somebody is trained 100%, or they're just going to be put into a worse position. All right. Hope that answers your question. If not, write another question and I'll answer it.
Yeah. Anything else, guys? Gang?
Lucas says, bring it in. Thanks, guys. You're welcome, man. Thank you for attending.
Yeah. Thanks,
I hope you
Lucas.
learned a lot.
All right.
We'll stay here. I mean, there's this delay in questions.
Yeah.
So
We'll hang out. No,
Let's
that
do it
was
around
great.
for a little bit.
That was great. Thanks everybody for hearing us out, and looking forward to helping you guys on all this stuff.
So, Mike, I've got some questions.
Yeah.
So, what are the positions that you see people recruiting for most?
It's a great question. The two most prominent roles right now, I should say three because there's an up and coming one, but the paid side of things. So paid media managers, be it search, be it social,
Mhm.
graphic design. And then what's literally happening as we speak right now is there's a really aggressive need for project managers. So that has been a new thing. We're currently placing 5 project managers as we speak that all of a sudden came out of nowhere that everybody needs this particular role. So those would be the 3 most dominant, placements that we're having currently.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Project managers.
Yeah. It literally in the last, I would say 3 weeks, it became a very frequent ask. So we usually place 10 people we'll have people in front of our clients in 10 to 15 business days.
Mm-hmm.
We've pushed that off to 20 with these project manager roles because it's in such high demand right now.
Interesting. Okay, so that's a good question too. Is like, how long does it on average take you to place a role? So, like, say I book a call with you today, and somehow I get on your calendar later today, which probably doesn't even have access. But say again today, like, how long before you're going to be able to present some clients to me or some potential talent to me?
No, that's great. I mean, our standard process, we basically have a kickoff call. After that kickoff call, after we kind of understand the role and the job description, 10 to 15 business days before you have video interviews, right? Video introductions, I should say, and resumes and portfolios, depending on the role in front of you, right? Minimum 3. Then you can start making selections of who you want to interview or if you want more people to look at. But typically, it's a 10 to 15 day time frame. So it's a pretty rapid turnaround based, again, on our network and the sort of talent pool that we've already built over all these years.
Yeah, that's great. Brad Fox says, thanks, guys. You're welcome. Brad, thanks for attending.
Thanks, Brad.
Marius says, thank you, guys. Awesome stuff. You're awesome, Marius. And then Lucas says, we're constantly looking for freelance project managers, and it's not common. And Lucas is in Latin. He's in Latin America. Yeah. He's got a big creative agency out there.
Amazing.
All right. What's another question that people usually ask you on a call?
People ask a lot about English proficiency and sort of how what is that like? As I covered in sort of my talk, like anywhere, right? You can kind of get different levels of it, but one of the big sort of marching orders that I gave my team when we started doing this was making sure what I qualify as like 8+ out of 10 English speaking, right? So like very high level of English speakers. So it's all there, all available. It just depends on if you're looking in the right place, of course.
Yeah. So when I had Family Gifts Co., which was the multiple 8-figure brand that I started, my operations manager was out of Panama, and he just sounded like he had a Miami accent.
Yeah.
So like he was customer service for like white America, people buying canvas prints for their entire family, and he was amazing. Like everybody loved him on the phone.
Yeah. No, I mean it's certainly important. Again, I'm in Miami, and I think it's all dependent upon what your sort of temperature is. But again, I showed you some of those examples of people. Like that was kind of the point of that, to see like depending on where you're at. Even Ellie in the example I gave you, she studied in Ireland, which is why she had a unique accent. So they're out there, they're available, and they're ready to go. And the other thing people ask me too is about how the sort of work is structured, or the contracts are structured. So we're all month to month. So we bet on ourselves to place great people and not worry about, are they going to stay forever? I want them to stay forever. That's the whole goal. But I don't want to restrict people from working with us because of that. And we haven't had any churn to date. So that's kind of the emphasis we put on our ability is to find these high quality people, like I say, these senior level people to work for our clients.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Lucas is asking, we're also, he mentioned this to me too. So he's looking to hire like a design manager or an art director. And he's in Latin America, and he's like, it's really been challenging. Is
Huh.
that a role that you would recommend, like the leadership art director level from what you're seeing in recruiting, or is that thing something where you might try to push towards one of the other countries, or what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's all depends on the sort of the details of the job description, which, like I said, we put a lot of emphasis on. But art director is a pretty clear thing. Design manager would be something more specific. But for us, right, design manager for me probably falls more into that project manager role. Definitely, you know, a lot.
He's thinking like creative, like the creative guy that does like
design
that
manager
stuff,
or art. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this
yeah.
is these people are all out there and available. So I'd love to, Lucas, I'd love to talk to you if you're still there and hear where you're sort of finding those challenges, because like, you know, we've got a lot of experience doing this. Lucas, I'm sure that you do as well in your position, but you know, there's a lot of amazing top level talent out there. So to hear that you in Latin America are having trouble, I'd love to kind of pick your brain about that and see where that trouble is coming from, because we're doing it on a regular basis.
I love it. And I actually have a personal story about this. So I was very anti outsourced labor for a long part of my career. And there was one hire that we made that changed my entire view. And we, at Weekend, branding was a large part of our offering. And we had this amazing art director, and then she became a part of the leadership team, Reina, and just complete visionary from a creative perspective, incredible talent. And we were trying to find somebody underneath her because we couldn't find anybody to do the work that she did at her level. And we looked for like it was a ridiculous time, like 6 months, like way more time than we should have to look for this position. But she's like, I want to find the right hire. And then we only looked in the US, and then we're like, well, why don't we expand the reach to a few other countries? And we expanded to Latin America. And we had this guy apply, and she like blew him away. And we ended up hiring him and onboarding him. And she's like, Kyle, this is like the best hire that I think we've ever done out of Latin America, like the best hire we've ever done, period. But he also happened to be out of Latin America. He was out of Brazil.
Yeah.
So like that one hire completely changed my mindset on this, where it's like, wow, there is amazing talent everywhere else in the world. You might have to dig a little deeper to find it, or use someone like Mike who knows the ins and outs of the systems to find it. But there is really great talent that's out there.
Yeah, I think that's the case kind of around the world, right? Like, I don't think that there are country specific, geographic specific areas that anybody should preclude from their, you know, from a talent perspective, right? It's just, again, the ability to know where to go find them and have that ability to understand what makes somebody good. And I think that's the whole point of why we even exist, is to understand that stuff in a really deep way, just based on how many years we've been doing all of this work, and where we find a lot of our clients have such great success because we're not bringing them, you know, B players. They're only getting the A players. So again, the whole reason why we exist is because of that. And there's so many interesting things too about even in the offshoot too. Like we had somebody that wanted a copywriter. And so copywriting is an interesting thing to get in Latin America, right? You obviously have your AI tools to kind of help through that. And it's not a role that I would tell anybody like, hey, go do this first. But there are also expats in Latin America, right? We met a girl who moved down to Argentina with her girlfriend that was a copywriter. And guess what? Her rate is, right? She works for a Latin American rate because she's matching where she lives and like what sort of is needed in that region. So again, you can find all sorts of different people down there that do different things, that are in different situations. Again, it's the lens that you look through, right? And how you try to find those people. But there's so many things in and ways and talent sets to look at, again, be it again in Latin America for me or in Eastern Europe. Like, there you can find the right people. It's just there's a lot of time and energy that can go into those type of things. And if you don't have the network or haven't built the talent pool or understand what you're looking at, this is where all the problems come into play. And again, that's what I saw doing it. I was like, why are we doing these people? Like, we can just do it ourselves.
Yeah, just pay Mike. Lucas says there's elite world-class design out there in LATAM. And he says that Andrea, sorry, whatever the name is, hate mispronouncing them. I think it's Andrea would be the Spanish. Already booked a call with you, Mike. She's the people manager at DHNN. Thank you.
Amazing. I can't wait.
Lucas, you're awesome, man.
Can't wait to talk to her. That's incredible. Yeah, and I think the other thing I think people ask is about rates, right? So our like what we see in market is 2,500 to 4,500. That's sort of the range. So call it 3,500 as the average. The sort of high end dev people or high end account managers, they're up in that 4,500 range. If you want like a more of a executive assistant, right? Or so the project assistant role, those are in the 2,500. And then like your graphic designers, right? Your copywriters, your email, those are all in that $3,500 sort of mark. So, and then we also have a model where our clients pay us, we pay the contractors, right? And that way we separate all the liability from them as well. So the contractors, the people, function like and look like optically a W-2, but it's just a US vendor invoice that our clients are getting. So we help protect them from any of that liability and admin, administration burden.
Cool. So if I hire you, I don't have to deal with any of that. Like you
No.
take care of all the legal compliance,
Yep.
all the
We
stuff I
deal
don't
with all
want to deal with, and I just pay you directly.
Exactly.
Cool. All right, it's 2:11. We still have 11 people in here. What questions do you all have? If you're sticking around this long, you must have some questions.
I don't know.
The 30-second delay is
This is very true.
It's rough. How is LinkedIn this big and they can't make a webinar stream live or comment stream live? Like, this is crazy. LinkedIn AI, if you're listening to this.
Yeah.
Fix
They're
this.
there. They're listening for sure.
Oh man. All right, I'll stick around for like one more minute. If we don't see any questions, then we'll call it.
Yeah, let's do that. That's great. But no, Kyle, yours is great. It's super informative. That was really, really detailed, and could have used that at my agency back in the day. I could tell you that much. I'm sure people found it extremely helpful and useful.
I hope so. It's like one of those things that's so boring that people don't think it's important, but it's one of the most important things. Like your client onboarding experience and your talent onboarding experience. If those go wrong, the whole relationship will be wrong.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm not seeing any more comments. I'm going to assume that everyone's got all the questions answered. If not, you can always feel free to message Mike directly. You can message me directly. We're both on LinkedIn. We're both very active. Make sure though, if you want to do this, you scan the code, talk to Mike, and that way you can get all the free bonuses that we just talked about. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get them because it's only available through Mike. And we don't want you to lose that.
Well, I'm looking forward to meeting everybody that signs up, and we can kick off some roles and get you involved with Kyle as well. So thanks everybody for listening. Kyle, thanks for your time. This was amazing. And look forward to, the next conversation.
All right.
All right. Bye guys.
Bye.